Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Big deal. It's just a bench grinder. I just wanted to show you this because this was kind of interesting. I got this thing for, I think, 15 or 20 bucks. And I figured it'd just be handy to have a nice small bench grinder. And it's a good brand name. I had no idea if it worked or not. And when I got it, it had this wheel on it. And I thought, oh, that'll be good to have, you know, because the guard's missing on this side, right? So at least I could use this for doing quick cleanup of stuff. So I got this thing on the bench and I fired it up and it was vibrating really, really badly. So then when I shut it off, as it was spinning down, I was looking at this wheel and I realized, oh, I know what the problem is. I don't know what the heck size arbor this is supposed to be for this thing, but it's like way too big. And rather than just try and make a spacer or a bushing to correct that issue, whoever had this just kind of tried to eyeball and line it up as close to center as possible. Well, of course, that didn't work. So no wonder why this thing was vibrating like crazy. So now, with this removed completely, it's a little better. Take a look at a few other random items here of note. A dealer who I've bought some machinist tools from in the past, and he keeps digging out more stuff and bringing it in. And generally speaking, the old indicators that he has I get for between $5 and $10 a piece, and this was one that I ended up getting for 10. And what's nice about this is that this is a comparator. This is a Mar millimess comparator. And the resolution on this is 0.000005. And it works perfectly. It's actually in pretty good condition. This should have a case to protect it, but that's okay. So that was a good score there. I bought a bunch of other indicators, but nothing else that really stood out, so we'll not bother with those. Another dealer had not a lot of tools, but I spotted this Starrett tape on his table, and the condition is really nice. And I got this for $5. My passion for collecting these various strange older drill stands continues. This one is a 1 to 60 number stand, and I don't think this one, I don't remember seeing a maker's name on this one. I think I might have one very similar to this. I'll have to check and see if this is a duplicate. If it is, then I'll sell it, but I don't even bother putting drills in these. I just got them stacking up over there on the shelf. So this is a really early Federal case. It's almost like Bakelite with a little brass button, and what it's got in it is it's got a indicating micrometer in an early Federal one. And what I thought was kind of neat about this was not only is it, you know, a very early case, early indicating Federal micrometer, but it works perfectly, which I thought was really kind of neat. This gentleman here is the same gentleman I got that millimess from, and I don't know where he gets his stuff, but I think he, like, some of the stuff might have been at a yard sale or something and then didn't sell, and then just got pulled together and he bought maybe like the whole shebang, because I know I didn't pay anywhere near $30 for this. I want to say I got this for like 10 or 15. Normally, unless they're extra large green fields, I shy away from buying tap wrenches unless you know, they're Starretts, and even then I've got to get a pretty good deal on them to make it worthwhile. No-name ones like this, I generally don't bother giving very much for. I think I was able to get this for about $5. And the reason why I decided to get it was because I just thought it was kind of a cool design. It's got this egg-shaped area in the middle here with several different size holes going around, so you can do more than one size tap shank with this. And the middle part here is steel, and the outer areas here are all aluminum. So I think that's a one-off somebody made. There's no markings on it whatsoever, but it seems like it was very well done, and it might be interesting enough to somebody that I might be able to get, $10 for it, or 15 even. Speaking of little stands, this is exactly how I bought this. It was sitting on a table with these Allen wrenches stuck in it. I do not believe that this is for Allen wrenches at all. I believe this is another drill index. It does say something on it here. Again, this is almost like a Bakelite type material. This says dependable quality Dunlap. The old manufacturer, I think they made some lathes and stuff like that. So no idea what the value is on that. I think I only gave like $5 for it. And again, this is probably just going to go into my private little collection of unusual drill holders. You've heard me time and time again lament about how I hate buying surface gauges any longer because I have so many of them, and they're not a big seller, and they tend to be kind of a pain to ship because of the weight and the size. But this, even though it's far from complete, it's just the base, this caught my eye because it's a brown and sharp, but I've never seen one like this where it's just got a hole in the middle for a central post that's missing. But it's clearly marked brown and sharp. So this has got to be a pretty darn early one, I figure. And I got this, I lumped this in with some other stuff, I think. I probably only paid a few bucks for it. So I took a chance on that. Occasionally I will buy vintage calculators, scientific calculators, when I can get a good deal on them, and this is an example of that. This is a HP, Hewlett-Packard, and I believe I gave $10 for this. And what this is this is an HP 49G Plus graphing calculator. So I haven't tested it yet. I did check and was happy to see that there were no batteries stored in it, so I don't have to worry about batteries having leaked inside of it and ruined it. Contacts actually look excellent. So there's a high probability that this is a working model, and these high-end graphing scientific calculators were very expensive when they were new, and many of them are becoming collectible now. This is kind of neat. It's got a magnetic latch. I will buy these in this condition like this for $5 or $10 a piece all day long, and I haven't even looked this up yet, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if this would, if it ends up being a working calculator, I wouldn't be surprised at all if this brings, $30 to $50 on eBay. Here we've got something that I've got no idea what it really is. Some sort of sight, I think, is what we ended up determining. Took a chance on this. This is marked Keffel and Esser, I think is the name of the company. Kufel and Esser. That's it's the German company that see their names on a lot of drafting sets and things like that. So this is an N5702 Keuffel and Esser, Esser company. N5702. It's got a bubble, like a level, built into the top of it, right there. And it's like a little handheld scope. I'm assuming it's meant to be handheld because it doesn't have any brackets on it, and it's got its own little case with a belt loop. I'm assuming this is the original case. I wish I could show you what I see when I look through this, but basically what's in there is there's just one reticle line, and then through the magic of some mirror or something, or a prism, I can actually see this bubble. So I can actually tilt this down and hold it so that the bubble is right where the line is. What it does is it essentially lets me take a reading of, say, I don't know what you call it, but you know those sticks that surveyors use that have all the inches on them? I guess, somebody in the distance could be standing there with one of those, and I could take a sighting with this thing, and I would know right when I'm holding it perfectly level, and then take the reading off of the stick, if that makes sense. I'm assuming it's something along those lines. Well, sadly, it's a very common item, even though it's got some age to it. It is a pocket transit, or pocket level, or pocket sight. I don't know. A few people call it a few different things, but there's like 3 or 4 of them on eBay right now, and they're not selling because people asking too much money for them. The ones that have sold in the past tended to sell for between $20 and $30. And occasionally you can get one for even cheaper than that if you come across an auction and snag it. So not a lot of demand for them. That's unfortunate, but that's okay. Be an interesting conversation piece. I know a couple of surveyors. I can show them. I can break this out and show them how it's done. And then there's this thing. I got this for $5 or $10. And I have absolutely no idea what it is. Matter of fact, I had a long conversation with the guy who owned it because I picked it up, and he said, "You know what it is?" And I said, "No, I was going to ask you." Or he said something along the lines of, "Yeah, if you can tell me what it is, you can have it," or something like that. I don't know. But anyways, I ended up getting the thing for probably like $5 because we basically talked about it, theorized about what it might be. Couple of different theories, one of which is that this metal part right here, that this was an access door or something on a stove or a piece of machinery or something. It's marked Kit HC88. But right now it's on this piece of wood. It doesn't really make sense as to why it's even on this piece of wood. The wood itself looks very old, but it could be that somebody put this on the piece of wood a long, long time ago. I'm sure by now several people have probably opened this up to see whether or not there's anything behind this. I will join that club, if for no other reason, to see whether or not there's any other markings on the underside of this metal plate. Alright, so it's just a solid block of wood. It's not even hollow. And there's nothing to be seen on the back side. So, unless somebody out there is watching this video right now and can tell me otherwise, I think this may remain just one of those mysteries. I think the guy was glad to sell it to me just so he doesn't have to have a bunch of people ask him what it is anymore. Yeah, I know these are just regular hand tools, but there's some interesting items here, so I figured I'd bring them up. This is a Stanley number 36 9-inch cast iron 3 bubble level. So this 3 glass bubbles. You always want to make sure that the glass is intact on these. This is, as found, rusted condition. Underneath here, I don't know how much of that black enamel is going to still be in good condition. So I take chances on these when I find them because some of these are pretty collectible. Unfortunately, the number 36 must be a very common one because it doesn't bring a lot. What I thought was interesting, though, was when I was searching values on these, is that like the larger 18-inch ones in that seem to actually bring less than these little guys. This is a 9-inch, and I think they made this in a 9 and a 12, as well as those larger sizes. So this is probably still going to be worth, in the condition it's in, probably around $15. I probably only gave like $5 for it. Hopefully. These little folding wooden rules with the brass parts on them, I've gotten into snagging these when I can get deals on them. When I have no idea what the value is, I usually don't take much more of a chance than say like $5 on them, especially if they're in rough condition like this. But the reason why I got this one was because this is one that does something that my previous ones that I've acquired doesn't do, which is it's actually also a folding one. So this will unfold and turns into quite a longer one. but it's really dirty, kind of rough condition. So what I've learned about some of these little hook rules is that you might not find any markings anywhere on the ruler, and then if you slide this part all the way out, there might be some identification on the inside here or even on the back side of this brass. I cleaned this up pretty well so I could look at it under magnification, and I can't see anything. So the only markings I can find on this whole rule is this letter J right here, which I don't know whether or not that's from the manufacturer or if this is just something that was marked by the owner. It's interesting, there's a little steel pin right there that actually keeps... What does that do? So it's still a neat little pocket rule. It's too bad it's in such rough shape. That's just a metric snap-on wrench, but I got it for like a couple bucks. So whenever you buy a snap-on wrench for a couple bucks, you just buy it. It's just a regular Utica, good brand name, adjustable wrench. You know, a good adjustable wrench is always a great tool. Just thought I'd bring it up because I also acquired this one from the same guy, and this is a Crystalloy, made in the USA. And what I like about this one that I see on a lot of these now is that it's got a way to lock this so that this doesn't move on you once you adjust it, which is a nice little handy feature. Some of them have a button in the bottom here, and you push up on the button and it actually moves the rod and locks this. This one uses this method here. And then this one has something I've never seen before, which is it actually has the measurements right there. So right there, you can actually set this thing to the size that you want and then lock it. First time I've seen that on an adjustable wrench. I know, you guys, some of you guys are like, oh yeah, I see those all the time. Well, not me. Regular Craftsman wrench, but caught my eye because of this weird profile on the end. Might be a handy little thing for getting in tight spaces. Don't even know what they call that. Always on the lookout for genuine vice grips, especially if they have unusual jaws. And this is definitely an unusual one. This is a model 10LW. And I do not know what that is for. I'm sure a quick Google will tell me what it's for. Well, how do you like that? It's actually pretty obvious once I looked it up. These are designed for several different sizes of hex nuts. So we've got regular jaws here for grabbing, you know, like regular vice grips, right? But then we've got the ability to grab onto. So that's actually a little too large for the smallest size, which is over here. So we put this over here on this side, and voila, locks in there nicely. And then of course, for the really larger ones, that's what these two flats up here are going to be for. So I could see where these might be really handy if a nut's starting to get rounded over on you and you're trying to get on that thing, right? And then it also has a wire cutter built in right here. And holding it up to the light in the closed position, I can see there's no damage to those jaws. So this has probably never been used for wire cutting. Ah, I like them. And you can buy these today under the Irwin brand name. So they're still making this model apparently. This isn't that unusual, but I just figured I'd show it because it was a hell of a deal. Somebody made, by the looks of it, made this nice box. Well, I guess it's possible it's an original box, but I don't think so. I think this is a shop made. Look at it, the old penny trick. Keep a penny in there to act as almost acts like a sacrificial anode. The idea is corrosion's supposed to want to go to that first. But anyways, this is a nice precision grinding vise. You know, looking at it now, this might be commercially made, even though I don't see a name on it. It's got a very unusual marking there. Boy, if somebody did that, they had I don't know if that's a laser would do that or what. So this has got a, well, see, it's just under 3 inches, so that makes me wonder if that's not in millimeters and might indicate that this is in fact a factory made model. And The thing that's great about this is that I got this for 10 bucks from a guy who just doesn't deal in tools usually. He had nothing else from machinery items, this machinist items. This is the only thing he had. I even asked him, I said, you get anything else from the state this came out of? He said, nope. 10 bucks. Such a deal. I don't know why that pin's in there.